views, information, or opinions expressed during the Geeks Under the Influence podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of RVA Magazine, Loot Crate, amzn.to, or their employees. Listener discretion is advised. Fuck off if you don't like it.
Where do we want to draw the line between heist movies and gang movies?
Well, I think heist movies could be its own episode, but they're so crossed over into gangster movies.
They really are. That's why I'm asking.
Right.
Like, you look at, for example, Lock, Stock.
Yeah.
It is a gangster movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's also super a heist movie.
Right.
Yeah. So it's one of those where one movie can be two things at the same time.
The same could be said of Snatch.
Right.
Yeah, most of Guy Ritchie stuff, Rock and Rolla, for example, can be the same thing.
Oh,
I think it also just depends on how those particular heists are being organized, and I think that's what it comes down to is organization.
Well, like The Bank Job, for example, I wouldn't say is a mob movie, but it is a heist movie.
Right.
Inside Job, or Inside Man, is not a mob movie, but it's a heist movie.
That's a boring movie.
Would you say Heat? Heat isn't a gangster movie.
No, Heat's not.
But it is the
best. It has like the people from every gangster movie in it.
Bank heist movie ever.
Yeah. No, I think we have kind of a very broad topic here because we're talking about gangster movies, which can be gangs or mafias or, so there's
Yakuza.
There's a lot going on. So, we're going to be touching on a bunch of shit.
We're going to be touching a lot of gangsters this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Ew.
I talked with our fans before we got started about what gangs they would love to see play against each other, like from different movies. And Mike, who's been on a number of episodes, said that he wanted to see the Warriors up against the crazy 88s from Kill Bill. And I'm like, I want to see that movie.
Wow.
If we could just make that movie fucking happen.
Dude, it would just be the crazy 88s destroying the world.
It'd be a very short movie.
I want an entire movie of nothing but the Furies just riding around beating people up with baseball bats in like goofy antique baseball uniforms.
It'll be the Trouble with the Curve sequel, where it's just the baseball Furies beating the shit out of Justin Timberlake for 2 hours.
You know what? I want the Furies versus the team from fucking Major League, just beating each other up with baseball bats.
That's not really gang violence anymore. It's just
it's definitely gang violence.
It's
just
baseball
not,
fans. It's baseball fans beating up baseball players at that point.
It's still gang violence. It's just a baseball themed gang.
That's called
beating the shit out of Charlie
That's called
Sheen.
a normal Oakland athletics game. That's what that is.
Well, gangs are really just teams that do illegal shit, right?
Well, yeah,
mostly.
Kind of.
Mostly, but organized.
But
somewhat.
really, I brought you guys under false pretenses. We're not going to be talking about The Godfather or anything else tonight. We're going to be spending an hour and a half talking about the long-defunct NBC TV show The Black Donnellys for an hour and a half.
See, you might not be talking about The Godfather. I'm talking about The Godfather.
Everyone else here is.
No,
this guy thinks he's funny.
I don't think I'm funny, and most of the people in this room don't either. But what we're talking about tonight is gangster movies.
Nobody picked up that Joe Pesci thing at all. I'm disappointed in all of you.
I guess.
Funny.
I got it, but yeah.
Anyway, what we are talking about tonight is gangster movies. We're talking not only just the Italian mob, we're talking the Yakuza, we're talking Irish Mafia, we're talking gangbangers, we're talking gangsters in general tonight on this episode of Geeks Under the Influence. We are not going to really hit too much on Scorsese's movies because following this episode, we're doing a straight-up Scorsese episode. So we're going to be talking about not just Casino and Goodfellas and The Departed, but also,
Taxi Driver, fucking Shutter Island,
Gangs of New York,
Boxcar Bertha.
Boxcar Bertha.
So if you don't hear a whole lot about Scorsese on this episode, it's because we're saving it for next episode. But there's still plenty of other stuff. For example, Lawless. Lawless is about they're dealing with gangsters and they're bootlegging. That was kind of the advent of gangsters back in the Prohibition era was because of bootlegging. So we're going to talk about all that and more on this episode of Geeks Under the Influence, episode 117. Welcome.
Geeks Under the Influence.
Yay!
Noises.
Loud noises.
Mm.
Cron, why are you wearing sunglasses? Is your future that bright?
Yes,
I
it is.
doubt your future's that bright. I know you.
I'm trying to
not
cover,
that bright.
I'm trying to cover up the bloodshot of all the drinking I
The
do.
brightness is the light you're going to see as you go through the tunnel because you have diabetes. Like that's that's the only brightness in your future.
It's just covering up all the bloodshot from all the drinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So, did you think that was the right look for a gangster?
These were the ones in my pocket when I walked out to the car tonight.
He was also really
Are
proud
you trying to
of
be
winning those.
Are you trying to be Elvis in True Romance?
No. I'm
Speaking
just trying
of
to be an alcoholic.
gangster movies, that is a straight up gangster.
I'm
movie.
just trying to be a trashy alcoholic.
You don't have to wear sunglasses to make that happen.
I know, but it makes it funnier.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Geeks Under the Influence. To my left, the man that if he was in a gang, he would be known as the German, and he'd be like the guy that came in to like torture the fuck out of people for no good reason. The German, Mr. Grutz, is here.
I am the cleaner.
The cleaner.
And
He
he'd
is-
do it while wearing socks and flip-flops.
He is Stephen King in Sons of Anarchy. Just comes in and cleans shit up.
Speaking of gangsters,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I know for a fact that Grutz is very well versed in gangster movies.
Oh, yes.
I've seen a number of them with you,
Yes, indeed.
and you've introduced me into a couple of weird ones as well. So
Yeah. We're going to talk about all those.
oh, a bunch of. I'm excited about this because a number of us are going to have underappreciated gangster movies that other people just have forgotten about or don't even know about that are going to be discussed, like Mickey Blue Eyes. What?
The whole 9 yards.
That's not one of mine, but yeah.
No.
Lucky number 11.
Lucky Number
Oh,
11 is
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
smoking aces.
Yeah.
I think I'm also the only person that liked Last Man Standing.
Oh God, I was not a big fan of Last Man Standing.
I
honestly.
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty, actually, well executed remake.
It was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Next to Mr. Grutz, if Grutz was known as Jake, the next guy up would be the Fat Man. We're talking about Cron.
Howdy.
He'd be the guy eating spaghetti in a Godfather movie.
What is your
and-
spaghetti policy here?
Oh, like on the episode?
Yeah, like
Like,
can I
don't.
eat spaghetti out of a bag?
No.
Shit.
You can leave the gun. You can take the cannoli.
Oh.
Mr. Cron is here.
I'm not big on cannolis. That's her thing. I don't like cannolis.
Really?
Everything's wrong with you.
I'm not even that into sweets, and cannolis are
That's the
cannolis.
thing. Like,
They're-
I'm not super huge into like sugary things.
except for your girlfriend.
I mean, I'm fat because I eat a lot of
mean-
cheese and red meat.
and bacon.
Actually, no,
Really?
not a lot of bacon.
Get out.
Oh, dude. Come on.
Lots of cows. Like,
Not a lot of pigs?
I mean, I eat a lot of pigs, just not that kind of pig. I eat a lot of, pulled pork and pork loins and
He likes the loins.
yeah.
So, what was the movie that Grutz you just saw recently?
Lucky Logan.
Lucky Logan. So, Cron would be a perfect addition to that movie.
I think so. He'd have to don an accent, but
He'd,
yeah.
he'd be like somebody's uncle
Kinda
that's
West
just
Virginia.
like sitting in a kiddie pool in the front yard, like in a lawn chair, like kicking his feet in the water, eating a fucking like bowl full of fucking pulled pork.
Great
So I'd be
heist movie.
fucking Carl.
Yeah, basically.
Great fucking heist movie. Not much of a gangster movie.
Okay.
but yeah.
So, Cron is here.
Howdy.
Next to Mr. Cron, a former panelist of the podcast that has not been on for a while.
A
We're talking
long time.
like more than a year and a half, I
Yeah,
want to say.
it's been a minute.
It's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
Spring last year.
Yeah.
It was,
did the
that was
Xenomorph
like
episode.
late winter.
Yeah.
No, Xenomorph
It
was
was
spring
the
last year.
alien-
It was
Alien
Alien
episode.
Yeah, that was like what late winter, early spring last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Manda Nostromo is here.
Hi. I am.
Very excited to be on this episode.
I am so excited.
Yeah, I mean,
been a-
this is gonna be so much fun.
I am stoked on
Oh,
it. Not gonna lie.
yeah.
Super excited.
I'm just gonna talk about Eastern Promises for 2 hours.
Oh my God. Fuck the history of violence, bro.
Oh, but honestly, Eastern Promises better for me than History of Violence.
Better for this podcast.
Better for the podcast,
Agreed.
yes.
Well,
I think I
both-
enjoy the movie more. History of
Both
Violence.
movies are fucking fantastic.
Eastern Promises, just that. By the way, there's going to be spoilers of every gangster movie that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Let's just throw that out there.
Just for you're just thinking about the naked scene, right?
The naked scene where
Naked knife fight.
the feeling of just completely not protected
Yeah.
during the knife fight was so visceral.
Yeah.
It was. You could feel it with the way that.
And you were
Cronenberg
hoping he
filmed
didn't feel it.
that. Yeah. No shit.
Like, that could have been really bad.
Fantastic
Yeah.
film. But yes, Manda Nostromo is here. I'm very happy to have her back on. Next up is the right-hand man, the sexual chocolate, the Mulatto Magic.
Mm.
If he was in a mob, he would be known as the Chocolate Hammer.
I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
Is that good?
Yeah, that was
okay.
pretty good.
All right,
I'll take
Mr.
it.
Lowdown
Is that
Brown
the chocolate
MacGyver.
hammer that melts in your mouth, not in your hand?
Something along those lines.
What's up, guys? Ignore him.
I like there was a pause, like I don't even know what to do with that. at
Just
this point.
ignore him.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
Lowdown, we've been talking about doing this for months at this point, and I'm happy it's finally here. And following this is Scorsese, so I'm just getting... This is the beauty of getting ready for a podcast episode, is that I get to watch movies that I haven't seen in forever, that I love to death, that I just never gave myself a reason to watch. So mob movies and Scorsese movies, I've been having a blast getting ready for this segment of podcast. I mean, these are some of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, there's really fun ones. There's really dramatic ones. There's really action-packed ones, and you know.
And there's ones that I really wanted to like, but I just didn't, like Road to Perdition.
I love that fucking movie.
I didn't
Thank
like
How
it.
do you not like that movie?
Thank you. It is one of
That
my
is
favorites.
That's got one of the most like heart-dropping endings.
It really does.
It does, but that movie drags.
That's
but
why.
in such a great way.
See,
though.
but it kept my attention though the entire
I
time.
mean, it
The
doesn't
pic-
drag on as long as fucking Kill Bill. I
Hey.
couldn't do it. That
Watch-
could have been one movie.
Watch your
You could have edited those two into
watch your
one movie.
stupid horror mouth.
Kill Bill
Seriously.
was a love letter
get
to
Road
genre
Perdition, 'cause
filmmaking.
I agree.
It's a good fucking movie.
That movie is one of my
But
favorites.
Before we get talking about anything, we got to talk about the asshole that started all this shit, who's sitting over there, drinking his bourbon and gingers, and yeah, why not? Is that supposed to be a gangster movie or a little Shogun shirt?
No, that was just
It's not
what
a
I wore
gangster
today.
movie. Okay.
Yeah.
So I tried to find something, but I did have a Clockwork Orange shirt, and it just got so old and ripped up. But that would definitely be. People don't think of that, but that is a gangster movie.
That is, well,
definitely is.
gang.
Droog. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
Droogs,
The Droogs.
are definitely gang, as much as the Warriors are.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm,
Hobbit.
I'm
Yeah.
Mike the Hobbit Bickett, host of this shit show. Thank you guys so much for joining us yet again for the 117th episode of this craziness.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's gotten to this point. You can find me on Twitter at Mike Bickett, or follow the Geeks Under the Influence Twitter at GUI Podcast RVA. All of our other social media stuff is at GUIPodcast.com, along with the newest episodes of not only this, but also GUI Precap. And very shortly, there's going to be a number of other podcasts joining the GUI network, hopefully by the end of the year. So stick around for that, as well as articles by panelists and friends of the show. So definitely check out GUIPodcast.com for all that stuff. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the nitty gritty. So really the thing that draws people to gangster movies, that's what I really want to get into before we talk about our favorites and everything, is that these are the true blue anti-heroes, gangsters, you know, and what is it about the gangsters that we see in these movies that really gets us like going and rooting for them? These are people that are killing people and committing crime. Like, why are we rooting for them?
Well, the really good ones anyway are the fact that it's real people. It's real people that are pulled in to this sort of situation, whether by desperation or, you know, desire for power or money or whatever it is, and they compromise their you know, ethics or morals, whatever you want to say, to do what they need to do, you know, and that's what's amazing. You see that journey a lot of times. Sometimes the journey isn't in the movie, you know, it's just you're dropped into a situation, but you can often identify with these people. Like, these are people that have just gone a little bit off of the, you know, sort of societal radar.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of times it seems like you're rooting for these people that you know are somehow they're assholes in some way. They're just people that you know that are not going to be accepted by everyone, but you see something of yourself in them.
Well, that's like
And I think that's
everyone
what,
here, basically.
right? Yeah, it's just a bunch of assholes that get together. We see things that we like about each other, you know. But so I mean, like, you know that they're doing stuff that's inherently flawed, but they're doing it to kind of make their lives better. And there's something about that that's somehow admirable, even if it's not the way that you would go about it yourself. And you kind of almost admire their, I guess, their willingness to take that chance and go all or nothing or die trying. Like, it's just something that you admire because maybe you wouldn't do it yourself.
Well, I definitely see that with gangsters, is that everybody has that feeling, like the falling down moment in their lives where it's just like, fuck it all. I'm just gonna go balls to the wall and fuck up people that cross me, and be friendly to people that don't, and go that way. And gangsters are just, that's their life.
I have that thought like 8 times a day.
Yeah, no, that's so gangsters. It's that thing. It's like you're living outside of the law. You're living outside of the normal 9 to 5 Monday through Friday society that we're all kind of like shoved into. These are gangsters that they're going and hanging out in lounges with the circular like lights on every table, listening to lounge singers and being like cool as shit and like fucking women and doing blow and like having like a great time. And you're like, this looks amazing, because that's what the movies are portraying it as.
Right,
Obviously, like gangsters, they also like every single gangster has herpes. Like they're just like, like that's just
Just have herpes.
yeah, they just all do. It's like,
Name of the episode.
all right, you are now a made man. Here's your herpes. You know, like they just like pass it out like communion.
Well, then every so often someone gets the short straw and ends up with fucking AIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's that sort of like looking at somebody who's living the life that you almost wish you had the balls to live yourself, but like they're still doing it so much better than you are. No matter how much you try, you're never going to be that rich or that awesome, and they're just doing it. And you're like, okay, well, I kind of identify with you. You're a complete shithead, but I kind of like you anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes you just want to watch the slightly less shitty human just blow 10 rounds through the really, really shitty human because no one else is doing anything about it.
Well, that goes with like Punisher and stuff, where you like to see the actual shitty human being fucking up the more shitty human beings. You know, that's kind of goes into what I was going to talk about a little bit further down, but let's get into it now. There is a morality to a lot of these gang movies. They may not, their morality may not prevent them from, you know, murdering the ever living shit out of people and shoving them into a trunk, but there is a morality, like in Goodfellas, where they're talking about like no drugs, you know, we're just running guns and like stealing shit, basically.
Well, in like every single drug game movie, they always touch like, don't do the drugs, don't do the drugs, and they always end with somebody doing the drugs.
Yep.
And then you got, you know, Al Pacino shooting a bunch of dudes in the front foyer of his house.
Yeah.
Don't do cocaine, kids.
Yeah. Speaking of awesome gangster movies.
Every movie with blow always ends with somebody doing blow and having to shoot like 30 people before they die a sad and tragic death.
Oh, it's weird that a really expensive drug, if there's a movie about it, lots of people die and everybody's lives are ruined. That's super weird that would happen. Like, yeah. I want that nice cocaine movie where like everybody gets along really well and they do like a shit ton of blow. And it doesn't affect their lives in one way. It only positively influences their
there's
lives.
like parts of like Fear and Loathing and Cheech and Chong movies that are like that.
Or no, actually, Body Parts, the Howard Stern movie, because it was all off camera. Private Parts. Yeah.
My favorite part of that movie is where he kept hitting the guy in the head with the frisbee.
I'm just assuming that Howard Stern has done more blow than God. So
I mean, he probably hasn't done more blow than Keith Richards.
have you seen his nose?
Yes, that is true.
He does have a very stereotypical nose.
He probably gets somebody to create Pez dispenser pellets of cocaine that he just shoots directly into his nostril out of a Pez dispenser that looks like his own head. Like that's on the commercial breaks.
Which brings me to the thought that
I like that you have a segue.
Segue from there.
I do have to say that I am kind of envious of you, Lowdown, because you have the best coke nose of anyone in this room right now.
Yep.
Wait.
Baby.
Yep.
Is the German guy jealous of large noses?
For the purposes of doing cocaine?
All right, just making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I
Okay?
won't say because you did kill a lot of people with large noses.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
You did do that.
they-
Well, not him specifically.
Maybe they
Whatever.
were jealous.
He's
Yeah.
the German. That's there you go.
I'm sure they developed a better
what it was all
method
about.
to do it,
Well,
so that
and
doesn't require.
That
a
brings
large-
me to another thought on the morality note here, is and why a lot of these movies are entertaining. There's a certain degree of escapism in watching violence that we know is wrong. Like everything about it we know is 100% wrong, but it's a certain degree of satisfaction and enjoyment knowing that somewhere someone's going to commit that violence, even though we know it's wrong.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree with the fact that it's wrong. I want to do it, but man's law says it's illegal to do it. It's not that it's wrong. It's only wrong
Sometimes
by
it's
man's law saying it's wrong. So no, I don't agree that it's wrong. It's just we can't do it and
that's
get away
fair.
with it.
Well, I think what he's talking about is it's cathartic.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
We
There
are
you go.
seeing
Yeah.
bad people end up killing worse people.
Right.
And you're just like, yes, that needed to happen.
Well, also, I think it comes in line with a lot of the horror movies that we've become fans of, or like Falling Down that I mentioned earlier, is that the one thing that gangster movies gives us is that what if I was a terrible person and did not give a shit about my place in the world or things that like happen to other people? You watch slasher movies and you're kind of half rooting for Mike Myers or Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger because
I'm not gonna lie, I rooted for that dude in Scream because I was tired of
It's
people.
almost like soul cleansing a little bit to see pieces of shit like get murdered, and the best of the people that are being attacked by this person end up living at the end.
Yeah.
It's all the shitty people that die. The good person ends up living at the end for the most part.
Yeah, the final girl.
Right.
Yeah, the final girl. Yeah, exactly. So like gangster movies are a lot like that, where it's either like the wife of the gangster that survives, or she ends up becoming just as shitty as the rest of them and goes along and goes down with everybody else, or it's only bad people that are getting fucked up in these movies, and so there's a justification like Grand Theft fucking Auto, where you're like, it's fine, they're all fucking terrible, and you're cool with killing them.
Well, it kind of goes along with the idea that we were talking about how people that are. How there's always, especially in those movies that are centered around drugs, there's that person, don't do the drugs, and if you do the drugs, then the bad thing happens and all that. But a lot of it goes along with, I think the biggest morality in these movies goes along with respect. So it seems like most of the people we seem to identify with most are those that are actually showing that respect. And then we kind of watch them fall apart and realize that they're just as shitty as everybody else. But until then, you kind of want to root for them because you're like, yeah, they're the ones doing the right thing and they're going to like make it happen and they still get to kill all the other shitty people. And then eventually they just fall apart and then you're kind of like, oh, well, everyone's going to die. So, yeah, but I think like one of the biggest things that you see with that is respect. And most people have an appreciation for respect, whether it's being shown to them or an organization.
Well, and those characters, the ones that seem to have the most morality, whether or not it's like the popular morality or their own, the most moral character in the gangs tends to be the protagonist in these movies. I mean, you look at The Godfather, for example, and Michael. Mm-hmm. He, at least at the beginning, is the most moral out of all of them. And even if you look at his dad in those movies, he's very morally driven. His morality, though, is just different than normal society's. Mm-hmm. He has very strong feelings about like what is okay and what is not okay, and that plays a major part.
I agree, and also that's a good point with using The Godfather, because you're right. They both have different sets of morals, and they rely strongly on those to make their decisions. But you realize the generational gaps in where they grew up at, of how their morals are different. Mike's is a lot different than his father's because his father grew up in Italy. Mike grew up in America, and it's a whole different set of rules.
Right.
So.
What makes that movie amazing is watching the descent that Michael takes,
right?
Where he does end up compromising his values for the family because he realizes that family is worth compromising his ethics.
Blood.
Yeah.
Right.
He came out of the war. He was a soldier. He wasn't trying to get involved, but we see what happens.
What I want to get into, talking about The Godfather specifically, the leaders of these gangs that we're such fans of, what are some of our favorite gangland or gangster characters that have been part of these stories that we've loved so much?
Like leader, side character, or just any gang member? Like
the protagonist, the leader of the gang.
The leader of the gang.
I think it's about their presence. It's about their gravitas, more than anything. The leader of a gang, or a mob or whatever it is, they have a sense of leadership. They have a sense of sort of just like this alpha personality that drives everybody else, and you're gonna gravitate to that. You're going to be drawn in to that personality and that that sort of sense of majesty.
I get that, but there are certain movies that are done in a way where you don't necessarily always root for that person. Like, look at Donnie Brasco, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I actually love Pacino's character in that, and he's not the Michael Madsen. Michael Madsen is the alpha male of that gang, and Depp is the undercover, but you've got Pacino, who never really made it to the top, but has all this knowledge and hard life, street smart that came from living this life for so long, and I kind of root for him. Like, I don't want him to get busted, and he's not, like I say, he's not the leader, but he's the one that the detectives use as their in to the gang. You know,
You identify him. He's the beta.
exactly.
You know, you identify with him because he's the beta. He's a real guy. He has an honor code, and you know he's trying to get by. That's a painful movie to watch.
It is. It really is
Because it's just like
watch.
you feel so bad for him because he's involved in bad shit, but you're still like, he's a good guy. You know, he has this sense of honor, and he's totally gonna get fucked over by the end of this movie, and you know it, and you see it coming, and it's like.
Right, and I think that's what happens with that when you talk about that code of morality and going back to these leaders that you appreciate so much is that you do like the fact that you want to believe that they're a good everyday guy. You find qualities in them that make them good people, and it's just that's why it makes it hard to kind of want to see them get screwed over in the end, but you know that they probably should. But I mean, as far as leaders, I'm gonna pull a weird one. I really like Bricktop. From Snatch.
I was gonna go with Turkish.
Oh, good times.
Because when I think like gang leaders, he's just so like if you were to see Bricktop just as an average person walking down the street, he's just some old guy like mind his business, but he's a really creepy fucking dude.
He's just hanging out feeding people to fucking pigs.
He just feeds everyone to pigs like it's no big deal, and he like the way that he talks and like his specific like use of language and how he hangs on certain words, it just makes him a super imposing person. So as far as like gang leaders, and as much as I would think about being terrifying people, he's kind of creepy.
I'm not going to go with like my favorite for this one, but touching on that movie, I don't know, Brad Pitt character's pretty badass. He's the leader of the Pikeys, and he that was pretty awesome.
He is amazing.
I will say, to be a leader of a gang or a mob, you have to be willing to do more than anybody else. And to set yourself apart, like Bricktop, you know, he's the guy that has compromised his morals so much to be the leader, to lead out of fear. You know, that's why he feeds people to the pigs and tells people about it.
Sets fucking dogs on him.
Yeah, it sets dogs on it. It's because that's how you have to run it. And that's why that guy is at the top. And that he has a bunch of lackeys under him, because the lackeys, you know, they might be tough, they might be willing to do a lot of shit, but they're not willing to do what he's doing, you know?
Well, and to I guess kind of go with this theme of, you know, who's your favorite guy in charge. I recently finally got around to watching Live by Night with Ben Affleck. Nobody's seen it.
Oh, is that the one that came out recently?
Yeah, the one where he plays a gangster in the 20s.
I heard it was terrible.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it, but because it's, and this also kind of goes with Oz from Whole Nine Yards, he's kind of just an everyman that stumbled into this whole gang thing. Not quite as much as Oz, but he's still trying to do the right thing throughout all of this. And as this continues, he just keeps getting fucked over more and more before finally he just loses, like, fuck it, I'm killing everybody. Fuck all of you.
I did want to see that, and I will actually give it a watch now that you say it's actually good, because I'm going with The Hobbit that I heard it sucked. But one that I did see that Ben Affleck was in that involved the mob was the motherfucking Accountant, and that goddamn movie was awesome.
I still have not finished watching it.
Holy shit. That movie kicks ass. And, you know, yeah. So if you haven't seen that.
She didn't want to watch it because she's always leery of Ben Affleck movies.
No, it's goddamn good. It's fucking great.
Like, I made her watch
it is a
that
touchy
one.
subject because it does talk about the spectrum. You know, he is autistic,
Right.
so. But I have discussed it with people that have family members that are on the spectrum and whatnot, and they say that they do a good job as far as that aspect as well.
So
like
not
they
like
they don't
Forrest
exploit
Gump.
it. They just show the things that you'd have to do to become like an everyday, open person, and because he has an extreme case,
Right.
you know, so.
Well, and that was kind of
How he becomes
the
what's
way
the
I
word
got
I'm
her
looking
to watch Live by Night with me was because it's in the 20s and she loves anything to do with the 20s.
I love Roaring 20s.
So I was like, well, it's in the 20s, and then it turns into, you know, it goes fast forward a little bit, but it's, you know, that he just first off doesn't want to do anything with drugs, but by the end of the movie, we're selling coke, we got hookers, and we're shooting fucking everyone. And then he quits.
All right.
He's like, fuck it, I did the thing, I'm out, you can all eat a dick, bye.
And honestly, another amazing gangster is the Joker, because he is a gangster.
Oh, yeah.
You know, That's another good
and
gang
there's
leader.
so many different versions of him.
Every version, he is a gangster of some sort.
He is a gangster.
And that's a lot of like the Batman Rogues Gallery, the old school Batman Rogues Gallery. Like even the Penguin and the Riddler had gangs.
The Penguin was a gang leader,
Yeah.
The Riddler, he probably had the smallest out of all that, as far as... Because he's not a real alpha. He was definitely a beta. The Riddler was more of a beta male.
He was just a crazy guy.
Exactly.
Well, your big difference between the gang styles, too, of the Joker versus even the Penguin. The Joker's style was always, he's up front, he's leading by example. He's doing fucked up shit, fucking people up. Whereas the Penguin's sitting on his fat ass back in the office going, well, you go do this. And pulling strings like a dickhead. But he's just as much in control of shit and running shit.
I was going to say, that's both equally amazing, power plays.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing about the Joker, though, that it does segregate the Penguin is the Penguin would, reprimand his gang, his members, his followers, but the Joker goes into it without even a thought that they are completely expendable. Like
you can see exactly how fucked up the Joker's going to be.
Exactly.
You just hear stories about when the Penguin lost his shit the last time and beat some guy to death for an hour with a fucking umbrella.
Exactly.
It's a difference between, some villains are gonna be gang leaders. They're gonna be kingpins or whatever.
Ooh, Kingpin. There you go.
Some are gonna be solo villains, or much smaller. What you're talking about, the Riddler and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that the best, like Kingpin, sort of mob boss in a movie was definitely Sylvester Stallone and Oscar.
Oh God! Come on, fucking Oscar. No.
Sorry, I just had to say it. It was just
no.
And then you've got Tommy from Goodfellas.
Oh, God.
Yeah, man. Tommy was
just fucking unhinged through most of the movie.
Yeah.
It just the slightest thing, he loses his shit, and he's beating some guy to death, and now he's in the fucking trunk.
I feel like that's just who Joe Pesci actually is.
Well, honestly, every group has that one person that will go off about some dumb bullshit that you don't want to hear about in the first place. And
what did I do?
End up saying stuff that's wildly inappropriate or going off the handle about something that everybody else was like,
I have not
dude,
beat anybody to death and stuck him in a trunk yet.
And then a waiter gets shot in the foot.
Yeah.
No, Spider. Yeah. But no. And actually, as far as that movie goes, I don't really feel bad or root for the protagonist in that movie. Ray Liotta's character did that to himself.
Yeah,
he's a piece of shit.
Exactly. Like, I'm not rooting for him
always
at
a
all in
piece
that
of
movie.
shit.
I really do feel bad for Tommy in that movie.
That's why that movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why it's probably in the top tier. And I know I'm not going to go into big detail about it, but that's one of the best gangster movies of all time because it is in fact
my
favorite. So fucking real.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is the Seinfeld of mob movies. Is that all the characters are terrible and you don't actually like them as human beings. You're just like, you're all pieces of shit in your own way, shape, or form, but you still kind of want to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he went and beat that dude's ass across the street in front of his car with the butt of his pistol.
He pistol whipped him.
One of the best scenes ever put to screen. You're
That
just
was
like,
beautiful.
yes, owned.
And like you look at another Scorsese flick, which we'll get off of this really quickly, but
happen.
Departed, where there's at least
Oh my God.
there's at least a
Oh my
character
God.
that is mostly good that you can follow along and root for the entire time, and even the characters that are bad, like it's fucking Jack Nicholson, so you're still kind of rooting for him, because it's Jack fucking Nicholson.
But he's a piece of shit.
But he's a piece of shit.
Realistically, I know that we're not going to get too much into that movie, but that movie is by far one of my favorite films. And my father never watches a movie more than once. He just doesn't. That movie he's watched several times.
Yeah.
And it's everyone ends up so fucked up in the end. It's great. And it's just a beautiful movie.
Well, another movie I want to get into because it's all about gangs and their styles, and I want to get into like the clothing of gangs.
West Side Story.
No,
Please, God.
Fucking thriller over here.
I mean, it would be accurate.
the motherfucking Warriors.
Okay. Yes.
We talked about the Baseball Furies and mentioned it a couple times, but I mean, the thing about that movie is that it did two things that I really like in other films. It has some like 70s exploitation, like badass gang fight bullshit, and it has that weird post-apocalyptic everyone wears the same uniform thing going on at the same time. And that together created this like fucking perfect storm of amazingness that is the Warriors, to the point where in the days of the first Xbox, so we're talking like the early to mid 2000s, they came out with a Warriors game. This was a movie that came out in the 1970s.
Forgot about
There was
that.
a Warriors game came out before a Scarface or Godfather game,
Yeah.
to put it into proper terms.
Hell yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
And it was really the costuming is what did it for that movie, that everybody had like assigned fucking uniforms in a gang.
And one of my favorite parts of that movie was and how the way that it was pushed along was throughout the whole movie. You had this DJ just ratting them out at every fucking turn.
Yeah.
And you didn't really see her face for most of the movie. You just saw her talking, and then she just snitched them out and dive them out, and now there's someone else trying to fuck you up.
With those big old delicious lips. No, that I don't know what actress played it. It might have been Grace Jones. I don't know, but like because she looked like she had some Grace Jones lips. Like she had these like just luscious, like full, just
Well, I got to say, we're talking about that. We've already touched on a few. Like we touched on the Baseball Furies, obviously. The Crazy 88, pretty fucking cool. Some of my other favorites. Alex and his Droogs from fucking Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
as
Yeah.
far as
Fucking
uniforms go.
solid.
Yeah.
That shit
So
was
good.
it was a small little like band, little gang, but it was badass. But I got to go with Bill the Butcher's Bowery Boys from
Yes.
Gangs of New York.
Oh.
Thank you.
Especially when they
Yeah.
were like in their like plaid suits. That shit was hot,
It
man. They were
was
fucking
so
like
good.
owning. It was like they
So good.
in any other context it would look like a bunch of fucking hipsters, but those guys were murderers. They were awesome.
When I'm looking at Cron and Manda, there are a few people, and I'm sure you know many people that have a top hat, but there are a few people that can actually pull it off
So few.
without goggles on it.
So
And and
so few.
Bill the Butcher just fucking absolutely fucking kills it with that hat.
So that movie is another one of those movies that's near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love Gangs of New York. Like it'll come up again
yeah.
for me several times at
Yeah.
least.
So good.
It's my second favorite.
It's really good.
Scorsese
And-
flick.
Yeah, so good.
But the last but not least, I would say the kind of minor characters in the movie, but the clown gang from fucking Akira, clown motorcycle gang.
Ooh, well
Yeah.
done.
Those guys were cool, man. They had the big ass fucking like hogs and shit, and they look menacing. Like if I saw them driving down the street, I would be like, "Fuck this." I'm turning around.
I would agree with you if there was a giant clown gang coming down the street. I would not.
Yes, you would. Oh, Hobbit running from clowns?
I would not.
Nobody
Yeah,
predicts
no,
that.
that's not. That would not be a thing that I would deal
Yeah.
with.
No, I think I'll pass on that.
What about
I don't
the
like clowns, and I'd pass on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what about the Muty gang from Dark Knight Returns?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They kind of had they all kind of had mohawks, piercings,
Yeah.
sunglass thing. That was kind of like their lookout. They had like that punk rock look going for them.
Well, and also, this is talking about warriors and the post-apocalyptic uniform thing. Let's talk about the fact that there are gangs in the post-apocalypse. You talk about Fury Road. I mean,
Right.
Or
Like-
Road Warrior. How about
Road
the OG
Warrior.
Road Warrior?
I mean, they may not have the exact same uniform, but they're still wearing the same fucking uniform.
There's a style
Right.
of
Yeah.
ripped up clothing, like
I mean,
missing a shirt.
There's like a
sleeve.
dude in like a weird like fucking codpiece and a Jason mask. That's it. And that's the guy you don't fuck with.
And you've got like Fury Road, where the War Boys. If you tell me they're not a gang, you're wrong.
No,
Right.
yeah, the
No.
War Boys. I mean, they're fucking.
They're the low rent. They're not high up on the scale. You know,
No.
they're
Well,
the
and that
cannon
brings up a
fodder.
question though. What's the difference between a gang and henchmen?
Well, henchmen are part of a gang.
Right.
Right.
They're your
But
low
where do you
tier.
cross over from like shitty henchmen, you don't even have a name, you're gonna die, to gangster?
Well, if you're wearing a red shirt,
Well,
then you're fucked.
Okay, so you're gonna have your warriors, you're gonna have your soldiers. That's your henchmen, and then you've got the different rungs of leadership, which makes up the entire gang. But
so like your corner dealer versus the guy the corner dealer answers to.
like for instance, in Batman Returns, those techno carnival motherfuckers
Oh, those annoying dickheads.
The henchmen.
that were like running around, they were the henchmen. But the fuck goddamn like Penguin
Well, and that's
was
why I was
the
thinking
ringleader, man.
The War Boys definitely seem to be more like henchmen
They
than
are.
gangsters.
They
are henchmen.
but they're part
They
of
are.
the bigger gang.
Whereas like the Bullet Farmer, that motherfucker's a gangster.
Yeah.
Yes.
in his like stacked up Mercedes. He can't even get out of the fucking car.
But you can't talk about the gangsters without the cannon fodder. Like Immortan Joe is a gangster.
You need a meat shield.
Yes.
Jabba the fucking Hutt is a gangster.
No,
You have to
they're
have,
the kingpins
Yeah.
They are the
Yeah.
kingpins
of
yeah.
the gang.
you have to have a meat shield.
That's true. So back to the,
By the way, that
aesthetics,
is
though.
I'm writing that down. That
You
is
have to have a meat shield.
that is the name of the episode.
Because it's so true, though. You have to have that. You have to have that level.
So, and back to like aesthetics and uniforms, like a better way of putting it. One of the ones that always amused me, just because how contrasted it was to everyone else in the movie, was the hatchet mob in Kung Fu Hustle. They're all wearing like suits and ties, and they're just fucking people up with meat
They're like
hatchets.
Yakuza.
Props to you for bringing up Kung Fu Hustle. Well done, sir.
Fantastic movie.
But I mean, in fairness, they're dressing like the Yakuza.
True.
They
but
all
they're
wear
not.
suits and ties.
They're
I know,
like
I
a
know, but I'm
low-rent
saying.
Yakuza in the middle of this like shitty movie with shitty,
We're not even
dirty,
pronouncing that
poor
right.
people.
It's Yakuza. We're not even pronouncing it right.
Yakuza.
We're saying Yakuza.
Yeah.
Sorry. Fucking bastardized English.
But like they're like wannabe Yakuza is what makes it so much more entertaining. Like they're not even there, but they're just trying.
I want to save the Yakuza conversation for the second half.
Okay.
We still got a few minutes on the first half though, because Yakuza is a totally different.
Style of.
Oh, yeah.
It's a totally
It's
different
very
monster.
different.
Like,
and then you've got like Russian mafia people too.
well, and that's what I want to get into. A lesser known movie that I'm a big fan of. We talked about Eastern Promises as far as going into the Russian mob stuff, but a lesser known film with one Paul Walker, known from Fast and the Furious, and I know Grutz knows this movie.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a movie
it's
called
fucking-
Running Scared.
Yes.
That
Oh,
is
Yes.
unfucking believably good.
That was good.
that fucking hockey puck scene. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Where it's just I don't want to get too into it because it's a lesser known film. Do yourself a favor, find it.
I own it. Find it.
I own it.
He should have done 7 sequels of that.
That
Oh shit.
honestly,
Fuck Fast and Furious.
that could have totally had multiple
It could have
sequels.
done- yeah,
yeah, but
and-
then he would have had like a tragic hockey accident instead of a tragic car accident.
The movies would have been better.
yeah, but
okay?
They would have been better.
A tragic hockey accident, you end up either with scars or missing teeth instead of not alive.
Dead. Yeah, and I also could appreciate tragic hockey a little bit more.
yeah
Well, and there's that guy with the neck scar because he had his neck cut open and tried to play the rest of his game.
yeah.
I would be remiss if I did not mention one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, and the aesthetics of it.
If you say Punisher Warzone,
No, I
No.
know exactly what he's going to
Dick
say.
motherfucking Tracy.
Yep, I
Yeah,
knew
I
it.
was waiting for the second half, but I was gonna go with that.
Big Boy Caprice, fucking like flat top, like that. And the look of that, they capture the comics so well.
what was the?
And
what was his name?
there was Lips Manless and Mumbles.
that's one of the things
Mumbles,
I love
I
about
think.
it.
Who's the
Mumbles
one that had, like,
was the-
sunken face?
With the guy's like weird.
I think
face,
that was
yeah.
Mumbles.
Oh,
No,
Mumbles?
yeah. I remember he had a very small role. In the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
I forget, but like the work they did to make that
Prune
such
face.
Prune face,
Fucking prune
yes.
face.
Well, that's
Brilliant.
one of the things I love about like movies
Fucking
like
Dick
that.
Tracy,
that are,
man. So good.
that are set in like that pulp style. It is the names. The names they give these people. You got Bullet Tooth Tony and
I love
fucking
Bullet
Mumbles
Tooth
and
Prune face.
like,
All right, so before we leave the first half, let's give ourselves gangster names.
Oh,
So, by the way,
Jesus.
you cannot give yourself a gangster name. Another panelist has to give you the name. So,
Oh man.
yeah,
Oh wow.
As we all
First.
sit in silence.
yeah, like
All right, well, let's do you first. All right,
Yeah.
so Hobbit first. What would we call Hobbit?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards Groot, so I know I can pull up something.
I thought he was already the German.
yeah, he's
He's
the
just
Oh, that's right.
German
He is
now.
the
That is
German.
pretty.
He's a
That
German.
does
Really?
strike
He's already
fear.
got one. He's
The
a
German
German.
strikes fear.
Yeah, the
What are you
Germans.
afraid of?
German.
The Germans?
The
The Germans.
He's a
That's like
German.
I know.
Signs the papers.
I
old
know
man.
there's been mob movies where it's like we're gonna call the Russian, you know.
No,
so
no.
like it's the same
He's the
thing.
German.
It's stroke.
Sneaky
It's struck.
fucking
It's
Russians.
stroke fear in the TV show Hell on Wheels, but the Swede.
Okay, I'm good with that. Is that what we're
I
gonna
mean,
do? We're
can I
just-
please not
No.
be the Mexican? Because I
You're
feel
not
like
Brad Pitt.
No, you're not Brad Pitt. No, but seriously,
Well done.
I've seen that name in context, and it is kind of harrowing. Because you know the person is a murdering badass.
Except like
he's not
it'd
a
be like,
murdering badass.
no, but that would be the funny thing in a gangster movie is like, we're going to call the Swede. And like, oh, and the person's like, oh, fuck, they're calling the Swede. And then I show up, I'm like, hi, guys.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Hi.
Or like it's like that, like the cleaner guy from Boondock Saints had some innocuous ass name, and he just shows up and beats some guy to death in the face with a fucking pool ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be like that.
You
but
have
it's-
seen that, I hope.
But it's him.
You've seen Boondock Saints.
I'm going to pull for Cron, I'm going to pull a...
if you're gonna go as obvious as the fat man, you're fired.
No, fuck that. No, I'm going with a Heavy Rebel reference. Your gangster name would be Thundervest.
I'm fine with that.
That's
I
good.
think I have that button on here. Fuck, I do. I do have their buttons. still.
Nice. Well, perfect. All right.
That's good.
Thundervest.
So you're Thundervest.
Oh,
Yeah. Manda, what would you be known as?
Not the
I'm not
Mexican.
allowed to tell you.
You'd be the caretaker.
Oh,
Because that seems like it's possibly
okay.
nice, possibly really
It's not, though.
deeply fucking evil.
it's
No,
not
no,
nice
that
at all.
has an ominous tone.
I
to
like
it.
Yeah, yeah,
like
the
it.
caretaker.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
and then
Lowdown.
I thought he was already the chocolate hammer.
Nah, it's
But-
He's the mitt.
the mitt.
The mitt.
The mitt?
I don't know.
Johnny Bench called.
No.
No.
I refuse his
No.
name.
Okay.
The
I
mitt.
think we're all just vetoing that. No.
All right,
I
well,
don't
then
like the mitt.
come up with something better.
You guys supposed to do it. Like I can't do it.
Exactly.
I'm going to use these names on the post credits of the video
I
of
get
this
it.
episode. So
Somebody could better than the mitt.
The mitt.
The fuck.
Doesn't even make sense.
I don't know, like the
let's see.
mulatto fury.
I
That's
feel
too
like
many
that's too- I
syllables.
feel like
It
it's
is.
too many. It's too
That's
many.
too many syllables
It
for people
is.
that are too dumb to string
It-
together words.
It needs to be like
It's
one,
gotta be like
one
a-
word in
like
the middle of a
two or
name.
three. Once you max like 3 syllables, it's a problem.
yeah,
Can't be more than 2 words, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see.
Lowdown. What is your gangster name?
He can't tell us though.
Muscles.
Just muscles.
Just muscles.
Is that like mumbles but different?
No, but the thing is, like, if he was known as Muscles, he would have to walk in a tutu. Like, that's the only way it's gonna work.
No, man, he's Brick House.
As opposed to
I like Brick House.
Okay.
I like Brick
All
House.
right. All right.
It's like, please not muscles.
That was good. I
All
like
right.
that.
Brick House.
I'll take Brick
I'm good with
House.
Brick House.
All right.
You got a disco theme song, motherfucker.
Whatever though.
We still come back to Hobbit.
Built like a brick
he's
shit
the
No,
house.
Swede.
I'm the Swede. We got the Swede. We got the German. We've got
You're not Swedish.
No, it's
Thundervest.
it's
No, I'm-
Zed.
He is.
I'm
He's,
mostly
he's very
Swedish.
Swedish. That's why I
Mostly
said the
Swedish.
Swede.
I did not know that.
yeah.
The more you know.
That's why he burns.
My mom's family name was Janssen.
Oh.
So
So
super
why the fuck don't you drive a Volvo?
because I like cheap cars.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Volvos are expensive.
And
to
on
fix.
that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we are drinking and do making a drunken scene. So stay tuned for conversation about the trivia nights from Geeks Under the Influence. Stick around. This is Mike the Hobbit, direct from Fallout on a trivia night, telling you to come here every first and third Monday for trivia between 8 and 10, 25-cent wings, drink specials, prizes, and tons of really inappropriate trivia. It's a lot of fun. Do you guys agree? Definitely come out and enjoy trivia every first and third Monday at Fallout. In addition to Fallout, Geeks Under the Influence takes over Wonderland on the corner of 18th and Main Street for Geeks Under the Influence trivia, ridiculous trivia, goofy music, great food, cheap drinks. 1727 East Main. Come and check us out 8 to 10 every second and fourth Tuesday. We're back for the second half of our Gangster episode of Geeks Under the Influence. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Before we continue with anything else, we got to talk about our sponsors really quick. First up, of course, is our oldest sponsors of Geeks Under the Influence, amzn.com. Most of the equipment that we use on this podcast, we've gotten from amazon.com. And of course, you use Amazon. Who doesn't that listens to podcasts? That's like, talk about core market. I mean, like, podcast listeners that they definitely shop on amazon.com. So you're already doing it. Why not help out this podcast at the same time? You can do it by going to guypodcast.com. Click on the link in the upper right-hand corner of our main page to go to Amazon, clear your cookies, bookmark it, and then anytime you use that link, anything you purchase, we get credit for. So it's a way for us to earn money, and you're not spending any more money on the shit that you love on Amazon. So win-win, I'm saying. You know, it doesn't take any more effort than it normally would for you to buy all the cool shit on Amazon. So please, this shit isn't free. Help us out. Next one up is, of course, Loot Crate. Loot Crate, if you're unfamiliar, is a monthly subscription crate where you get a little gift to yourself every month that's thematic. Like last month was Kingdom with stuff from, what was it, Legends of Zelda,
Lord of the Rings,
and Adventure Time. I think
Yes,
it was the third one. Yeah. That's in the mail currently, so we'll be doing a unboxing of that probably next episode. Next month is Robotic. With oh man, this one I'm super excited about this one because this is definitely my wheelhouse. Blade Runner 2049. Fuck that alone. Aliens and Star Trek Mirror Universe. Ugh. And oftentimes there's a t-shirt. So any one of those things that turns into a t-shirt that I can wear, that's worth the cost of admission right there. Usually it's anywhere between $18 and $20 a month. You can save 3 by going through the link on our links page at guipodcast.com. Definitely go through our link so we get credit. And when you sign up, you save 3 when checking out to save $3 off your first crate. It's more than worth it. A number of the panelists were avid fans of Loot Crate before they sponsored the podcast. So we have no problem schlocking their wares because we've been fans forever. So check it out. Just make sure you go to Loot Crate through the link at guipodcast.com and on to the rest of it. On to the actual episode of Geeks Under the Influence. First up, before we continue with anything else, talking about what we're drinking.
Hey, we're fucking drinking. We're getting drunk. You want to know? Well, here you go. Hey.
So that's what we're doing. Steven, can you just not even anymore? Are you millennialing right now? Is that a thing that's happening?
Millennial should never be a verb.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Your advice should never be taken. So
You just use millennial as a verb. You don't get to talk about advice.
I can't even right now with you.
You're not helping your case.
All right, so first up, Steven was nice enough to bring a share for us.
I was.
What did you bring for us to tasty taste?
Brought some East Coast local goodness. All up in your mouths. This is Hardywood's Virginia Blackberry. Blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, honey. What?
God damn.
Just saying.
I was like, choke.
As you choke on some blackberry, that's right. Yeah.
Pinky's out.
I'm not even making a statement.
Yeah. This is the Belgian-style white ale brewed with fresh Virginia blackberries. It's part of their reserve series, and it's goddamn delicious. Fucking amazing.
A blackberry beer from Hardywood you would expect to be relatively heavy. It's not.
It's a white ale. It's white ales are light beers.
Although, what is the ABV on that?
6.8. It's
that's
a
not
light,
bad.
sessionable summer beer.
That's actually way lighter than I would expect from Hardywood because they like to hammer the fuck out.
8.5 to 12.
But most of their 8.5s and up are stouts and porters, not a fucking white ale.
That's true.
Or like their bourbon barrel
I feel like
stuff.
this is really light. I could drink like 2 of those in brown paper bags at the river.
Of course you could.
Because you're classy like that.
The fuck I am. Pinky's out.
By the way, for the remainder of the podcast, anything that Cron says, understand this is the gentleman that decides to wear sunglasses inside. So take his...
At night. It's dark outside.
Yes. Take his opinions at that measure, please.
Or just don't take him at all.
Yeah.
Still take him at all. Yeah.
Whatever.
So that's what I'm sharing, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I am doing, because it's a gangster movie, the thing that always ends up happening in gangster movies, they drink either scotch or bourbon. So I'm drinking Bulleit bourbon. And then to make myself less cool, I'm mixing in Jim Beam with some lemonade, some sparkling lemonade.
Sparkling.
As my, I guess, chaser? I don't know. Or just backup.
Mixer?
My backup mixer.
It's a chaser
bourbon drink to go along with Lowdown in my mouth. So that's what I'm drinking on. Grutz.
All right. I'm drinking the Big House Wine Company's Zinfandel.
The Big House?
The Big House. It's this one is the Frank Nitti release. He was Al Capone's right-hand man, so I figured it was thematically appropriate. It's all right. Can't complain.
Dig it.
Is it a blend or
No, it's a Zinfandel.
Zinfandel?
Yeah, Zinfandel.
From what region?
It is a California Zinfandel.
Go figure.
It is, who the fuck knows where it's from? It's not an expensive wine.
It has a screw cap like all the wine I drink.
If they're weirdly specific about the region, you can tell that they just upped their price point by like $3 or $4. But
Yeah.
if it's just like, I don't know, California, then you know it's like a $5-6 range.
Yeah,
wine.
this company does make box wine, so I mean, it's not bad.
Now, you and I have talked about the box wine thing. Box wine is actually coming back into play now, where
It's not that shitty.
it's you can get decent wine now in boxes. It's not just Franzia anymore. It's
I
not.
can still
It's
drink that
it's
shit.
not a Peter Vella world anymore.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And especially on the West Coast, out in Oregon and Washington, you can find like 1 liter boxes, like smaller ones that are actually pretty damn good wines. It's a great way to store wine, you know.
Well, and now it's like it's green because you can recycle the box instead of this fucking glass bottle that someone's eventually gonna break over a table and stab somebody with anyway.
Yeah, I mean, scientifically, it actually stores better that way. You know, you're not getting light through the bottle, and you can enjoy some, and it's like hermetically sealed, sort of thing.
Well, and also there's actually a lot of people don't realize there is a actual cork shortage. Actual cork, not like the synthetic
shitty
cork that
fake
they use.
rubber crap?
Synthetic corks don't work that well for keeping your bottles safe. So if you're trying to lay something down for a couple years, if it's got a synthetic cork, there's a good chance that you're going to end up with vinegar at the end of the day. Good cork is limited.
Right.
Bags and, for example, or even screw tops hold your wine better than cork does. So it's got a misnomer as being cheap, but it actually holds the wine better.
Well, actually, most wines that are coming out of Australia and New Zealand that are made to be enjoyed within the, when they're released, the first couple years.
So lighter stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can get some really damn good wines with a screw cap. They're just not meant to be laid down for 10 years.
Right.
And, so, I mean, it's much more prevalent now.
So not Thunderbird.
So not Thunderbird.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Night
Is that
What
train.
about the night train? Yeah,
Is that
I was gonna say,
actually,
or night train. Don't you even go there.
is it actually a wine?
it's a fortified wine.
Oh.
Yeah, so no wines named after like 70s Southern rock bands or like 80s like rock bands from LA.
Wait, what about Mad
No
Dog?
Night Train or
Mad
Oh,
Dog.
Mad
no
Dog
Night
is
Train.
The
awful.
song's named after the wine.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, okay, so no GNR songs and no Fabulous Thunderbirds. That's no.
And there's Mad Dog, and then
Oh,
there's
God.
Oh, Mad Dog's pretty fancy.
No,
Yeah.
you would think Mad Dog's fancy.
then there's the Drunken Irishman, White Irish Rose.
Yeah.
There's that one.
Oh, poor
yeah.
We made a buddy of ours
Poor
drink
Woo.
a handle of that by
Poor Woo.
himself.
Oh.
He ended
slept
up in
in
a
a ditch.
He slept in a ditch that night.
Oh, it's White Irish Rose, dude.
Because
He
it's,
couldn't get into his truck.
He couldn't get into his truck to sleep in the truck.
That's got to be the worst drunk ever.
see, that's the thing. That's not his fault.
No, it's not.
That's your
No,
fault.
I was not involved. I was just
he was
there.
a probate. That's what you do to probates. You
no,
make
it
them
is
say
not what you
things.
do to anybody.
It is.
Agreed.
No.
Nobody you
Agreed.
like.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Like, you don't like your probate?
I mean, he's got a story now.
Yeah, of how, like,
How he
everyone...
slept in a ditch and
about
almost
how
died.
he worked so hard to become a part of something that is full of dicks.
I mean,
All right? That's what his story is.
we made Fiddler ride around in like December or January in his underwear on a motorcycle.
That's better than making him drink White Irish Rose, man.
I don't
An
know. It was like
entire
10 degrees
bottle.
outside.
Y'all's
entire
fraternity
bottle.
is ridiculous.
Yes, sir, may I have another, right? Seriously. Fucking...
Oh
At
my
least we don't
god.
have goats.
What?
That's the other one.
The sequel to Animal
I love
House,
Goatsy.
Animals Grimm. Just Creatures Grimm doing a Animal House sequel.
Didn't
That
you...
would be
It could be
beautiful.
worse. It could be Animal Farm.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Didn't you bring something
Yeah.
to share, douche nozzle?
I did actually. Getting back on track. I have Catoctin Creek Rye, which is really fucking delicious. And it's
Delightful.
made in Virginia.
Amazing. Can I have a
Yeah.
little...
It is
Yes,
made
it
in
is.
Virginia. I'm gonna pass this bottle around because I'm fucking classy.
Yeah,
Fucking
actually,
delicious.
And I'm chasing it with Schweppes ginger ale.
regular panelist Crump and I got a chance to actually go up to Catoctin and visit the distillery. And aside from a kind of low rent tour that we got, the distillery itself was fantastic. Their booze is fantastic. We got to do a little taster, and they do more than bourbon, and it was absolutely wonderful.
That was
Hobbit,
delicious.
would you like to try some of this?
I don't know if we can actually make it across the tables.
It's got a nice caramel note to it.
Grutzy.
Watch those headphones.
The first time I tried it, Crump had a bottle.
Gives it to me.
The first time I tried it, Crump had a bottle, and it had a very distinctly, like a leathery aftertone that was fantastic.
Oh god, the nose on this
and
is
that was what sold me on buying a bottle.
The nose is like sweet caramel.
Yeah.
Really. And yeah, the backbone, I'm tasting the leather right now. Yeah, it's like a, so good.
It's subtle, but it's good.
nice earthy, kind of not overplayed, not super like heavy burn on it. There's
vanilla too on it.
And
there
I
is
get
vanilla. Yeah,
I
definitely.
love ryes in general, and one of the things that characterizes a lot of ryes is that they're harsh. And this is not a harsh rye.
No, it's
Some
not.
of them are very harsh. I'm sorry, Knob Creek's rye is pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Bulleit, I love their rye. It's a great like $30 bottle of rye, but it's a little rough.
It's a little
Yeah.
it's a little bit. It's a
I
little
like
harsh.
that. After that, I was like, I need something to like, cleanse the palate, and I immediately went and took a swig of
lemonade
Bulleit,
and
and I was like,
realized that
that's not
there
right.
was-
And then I took a swig of my lemonade and was like, there's bourbon in that too. Fuck.
Don't you have more of your share beer?
Share beer.
Oh, there we go.
Share beer would
There
be
you
great.
go. Share beer.
Do the
All
share
right.
beer.
I'm gonna help you out.
Speaking of fancy booze. though.
Manda, what are you drinking on?
So I was kind of thinking along the line of martinis, but I actually don't like gin martinis. But I did bring Bombay Saffire dry gin, and I'm going for the gin and tonic. I brought my sliced lime. Some of you are being really classy. Being classy today. I'm actually making mixed drinks in the middle.
Well,
As we're drinking out of plastic Halloween cups.
you
Hey, I
understand
have
that
these same cups.
These are our cups. I brought them with us.
Oh, okay, that's why.
you understand GUI
different cups.
podcast.
I don't know. I thought I brought cups.
GUI Codpiece is nothing but classy as fuck.
Classy,
So,
classy
yeah.
as fuck.
As we go from
So
talking
yeah,
about night train
I'm
to
going
high-end
with
liquor.
the Bombay Sapphire, which, to be fair, I always hear gin and tonic described as Christmas and hate. But Bombay, I gotta give it to him. It's not super. It doesn't taste like a Christmas tree so much, like you would expect. It's super smooth. It's easy to drink, and it's got a nice flavor to it, especially with lime. It just mixes really well. So that's what I'm
Generally,
going
I
with.
have found the cheaper the gin, the more it has that pine flavor.
That pine flavor. Yeah, it's not here.
Speaking of mixed really well, let's move on to Lowdown.
Hey.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Besides,
Stevie Wonder saw what you did there.
besides the share, what do you got rocking tonight?
Well, I brought a little mixed 6-pack of beers. I'm trying to finish up for the summer season because fall is right around the corner.
Oh,
and
fucking
Right,
pumpkin.
it's coming.
Fuck it, the pumpkin, man. I'm talking about the Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest,
Okay.
Can I get some
yeah.
Marzens?
Oktoberfest.
All right.
Marisons I'm in for. Pumpkin I'm not.
Jesus Christ. Fucking automatically goes to pumpkin. But mine's a basic white bitch.
I mean, you do like pumpkin beer.
I like 2.
That's so.
2.
Out of the 3 things that are named there, you're at least not 2 of them. So you might be basic, but
Well,
you're
I'm a white bitch.
not white
Because
or a
Matt,
bitch.
how did you now go to 4?
Yeah.
Now you're at 4. How does
What? Wait,
because
numbers. Numbers.
Math is hard.
Math is hard.
Anyway,
Speaking of gangsters, but does he look like a bitch?
drinking on some Schlafly Hefeweizen. It's a ale brewed with raspberries.
Ooh, that sounds fucking fancy.
All them
It's
fruity
a
beers.
raspberry Hefeweizen. It's fucking delicious. It's actually been sitting around my house for about a month. It's fucking delicious. Just the one. I had a few of these Ommegang Fruition ales, and it is a dry hopped wit beer brewed with passion fruit, mango, and kiwi.
That's
So the dry
fancy.
hop might scare some people away if you're not into hoppy beers, but
It's fancy.
it's a good, well-rounded. So I dig that, and that's pretty much. Oh, I had a Schlafly white lager earlier that was involved in that 6-pack as well.
Nice.
And that's really fucking good. I don't think they made a beer I don't like.
Schlafly is pretty good.
Like their Kolsch that I had a couple weeks ago. Remember
Yeah.
that? That was pretty good.
That was actually significantly good.
Yeah.
I still
gonna need them to make a beer
I still
Kolsch
lean
with me.
towards the Blue Mountain.
Yes, yes.
Blue Mountain's Kolsch is still like my be all end all Kolsch.
That also holds a special place in my heart.
Well,
'cause-
also, Blue Mountain has been so nice to us.
well, when I'm talking about like my bachelor party, we drank that the entire weekend at the cabin.
That'd be a fucking tongue
But then you
twister.
can get swifty.
I know.
But aside from that, I think actually the Blue Mountain Kolsch kind of knocks it out of the park better than some of the German Kolsches that are actual Kolsches.
Yeah, these are just German style. These are just German style.
German
Kolsch's.
style. Anything outside of Germany
Is a style.
is a style Kolsch. Yeah, but so that is what we were drinking, and now on to the next part of the podcast, making a drunken scene. Cue the music.
Making a drunken scene.
So stupid.
So much fun.
We are so stupid.
So much fun.
All right, so we've got a few scenes from some gangster movies. First one up is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels from 1998.
I love this fucking movie.
I
So
love this
good.
movie. It's so good. So Winston, who's playing Winston?
That would be me.
That is Cron. Charles, who's Charles?
That's me.
That is Manda. And then we've got Willie.
Yo.
Lowdown is playing Willie. And
Proud of you.
and that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, no actual narration on this one. So whenever you guys are ready.
Shit, I guess I gotta be ready then, don't I?
Yeah.
All right, let me have a swig of booze.
Do it. I believe in you.
Okay.
I never doubted your commitment to sparkle motion. Not once. Okay, maybe when you decided to wear sunglasses inside of a fucking podcast room for an entire podcast, you
I
piece
thought
of shit.
about taking them off at the break, but now I just left them on just to spite you.
No, but actually, I kind of respect that. You're just like, oh, you're giving me shit about the glasses? Then fuck you. I'm keeping them on the whole
just
time.
gonna leave them on
yeah,
to spite you
no,
at this
that's
point.
fine. That's fine. I
All right,
understand.
so
that.
I'm ready to kind of be a British dickhead now.
All right, do it.
Charles, what have we got at Cage?
Security.
That's right, security. So what's the point in having it if we're not gonna fucking use it?
Well, I would have used it, but this is Willie, and Willie lives here.
Yes, but you didn't know it was Willie until you opened the door, did you?
Chill, Winston. It's me. Cracker knows it's me. What's the problem?
The problem, Willie, is that Charles and yourself are not the quickest of cats at the best of times. So just do as I say and keep the fucking cage locked. What is that?
That host Gloria.
Yes, I know that's Gloria. What's that?
Fertilizer.
You went out 6 hours ago to buy a money counter, and you come back with a semi-conscious Gloria and a bag of fertilizer. Alarm bells are ringing, Willie.
We need fertilizer, Winston.
We also need a money counter. The money's got to be out by Thursday, and I'm buggered if I'm gonna count it. Just make sure, if you do need to buy sorting fertilizer, you could be a bit more subtle.
What you talking about, Winston?
We grow copious amounts of ganja, yeah? And you're carrying a wasted girl and a bag of fertilizer. You don't look like your average horticulturist. That's what I mean, Willie.
Scene. Nice.
What you talking about, Winston?
Yeah, no,
Proud
fuck
of
you for that.
I'm
by the
proud
way.
of you for maintaining in spite of that.
No, actually, Cron,
Did really well.
we talked before on the break about your British accent, but I think that made it less funny because it wasn't bad.
It was
Like,
fucking perfect.
No, I'm speaking from an American side. Our British listeners are like, that was fucking horrible.
No shit.
I'm gonna run this by Andy and see what she has to say, and I bet you she's gonna be pissed.
Oh yeah. But from an American ear, so basically
bad.
not the person you should be getting any information on this from.
What are they
yeah, it was
gonna do?
not
Get
bad.
mad and throw something in the fucking
But
harbor
you know,
about it?
not even from an American point of view, but from a lock, stock, and two smoking barrels point of view.
That was good.
That was on
That was good,
point.
yeah.
Also, you guys were like on fucking note, just getting that
It was
fucking
good.
lines down. All right,
was
next
good.
one up is one of my personal favorite mob movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
To the point it was even mentioned in a chick flick as being the ultimate dude movie of all time. In Sleepless in Seattle, they talked about the Untouchables.
I don't know.
No, they
The fact
did.
that you got that reference makes
Means that I have lived with women before.
you know how I know you're gay?
Because he paid attention to Sleepless in Seattle.
That's the thing. You can live with women and watch it, but you paid attention to it.
Like, you can live with women and it's on the TV, but you're like, dicking around on your phone, checking the sports scores, checking your email.
To be fair, as a woman, I have never watched that movie all the way through.
Oh,
true.
Damn!
We
You're
don't
just
even
a
own it.
Bitch.
I've never seen it all the way through. I almost feel like I have to
Just
be
a
like
bitch.
an actual woman. Like I
No,
feel
that's
like
that's
I've
like
dated
Steel
myself.
Vagina for
Magnolias.
that.
That's Steel Magnolias.
I have seen Steel Magnolias.
Okay, then you're a woman. You're cool. It's
Yeah,
fine.
okay,
You
cool.
need a vagina to be a woman, and I'm pretty sure it's there because I've seen it and eaten it.
Stop,
Oh,
sir,
Jesus.
and edit.
And also collaborate and listen.
Also
Stop.
that.
Cron is back with a new unfortunate edition.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so we're doing Untouchables from 1987. My personal opinion, one of the greatest mob movies of all time.
Oh,
It
hell
is good.
yes.
But the two of the greatest actors right here.
Yeah,
doing the scene.
this is
So
a
I'm gonna
two-person
apologize
scene.
right now for this.
I'm doing narration. Who's playing Malone?
That's me.
The Grutz,
And
the German.
I'm going to apologize
The
in
German.
advance to my wife when she hears this.
Shitty Sean. Don't even try to do Sean Connery.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But I'm apologizing to my wife in advance.
Okay, who's playing Elliot Ness?
That's me.
That is Manda.
Which I am also apologizing in advance for that.
I'm actually so excited about this.
I can't promise anything.
So here we go. I guess I'm starting it with the narration. So pause for narration, you guys. And here we go. Starting with Malone. Talking privately in church.
You said you wanted to get Capone. Do you really want him? You see what I'm saying is, what are you prepared to do?
Anything within the law.
You can't even.
And then, what are you prepared to do? If you open the can on these worms, you must be prepared to go all the way. Because they are not going to give up the fight unless one of you is dead.
I want to get Capone. I don't know how to do it.
You want to know how to get Capone? If they pull a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone. Now, what do you want to do that? Are you ready to go do that? I'm offering you a deal. You want this deal?
I have sworn to capture this man with all legal powers at my disposal, and I will do so.
Well, the Lord hates a coward.
Jabs Ness with his hand and Ness shakes it.
Do you know what a blood oath is, Mr. Ness?
Yes.
Good, because you just took one.
Okay, fuck.
Fuck you, Cotton Hill.
No,
I kill 50 men.
Fucking Boondocks. He's doing some Boondocks over here, man. He's the grandpa from Boondocks.
no. Anthony was doing the politician that got rode out on rails from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, is you not my constituents? I'm a member of a Satan secret organization.
I apologize to my wife. My wife is going to beat my ass for that.
That was she ain't gonna wear shoes when she do it.
All right.
Goddamn right.
That was beautiful. Oh,
Fuck.
shit.
All right, we got one more.
Yeah, I
Thanks for
gotta.
that.
All right, the last one. By the way, like when putting together scenes for the Gangster movie episode, it was really hard to get something that all of us could come together and do a scene together with, because gangster movies, it's about one really fucking hard asshole and the people that listen to him
I'm still
or
surprised
are
you did
against him.
Goodfellas.
So it was 2 to 3 people. So luckily, with 3 scenes, we got everybody involved. But here we go. Scarface from 1983. I'm playing Hector the Toad. Super excited about that. Who's playing Tony Montoya?
It'd be me. It's Montana.
Montoya.
Montoya.
Tony
You
Montoya.
did not kill his father. Do not prepare
Seriously.
to die. We are in a different movie.
With mispronunciating, I will prepare to die. And that's it. That's just us two. Fuck. All right.
Really?
Yeah.
This ought to be good. You want me to narrate for you on that one?
There is no narrator, is there?
There's 1,
Oh.
2, 3.
Wait, who's narrating?
Do you want me to narrate on that?
Yeah,
that
Cron.
was what we
Cron,
were trying
you
to figure
narrate.
out.
I
narrate.
can do the
All right.
narration.
Fuck, I'm actually scared about this. All right, here we go.
You're right. It's good.
Stu, you got the money?
Yep. You got the stuff?
Sure, I have the stuff. I don't have it with me here right now. I have it close by.
Oh. Well, I don't have the money either. I have it close by too.
Where? Down in your car.
Lying.
No. Not in the car.
No.
What about you? Where do you keep your stuff?
Not far.
I ain't getting the money unless I see stuff first.
No. First the money, then the stuff.
After a long tense pause.
Gosh. Okay. You want me to come in and we start over again?
Changing the subject.
Where are you from, Tony?
Getting angry and suspicious.
What the fuck difference does that make on where I'm from?
Coño. Tony. I'm just guessing. Just so I know who I'm doing business with.
Well, you can know about me when you stop fucking around, start doing some business with me, Hector.
Fucking Batman over here.
Fucking goofy. Coño.
Fuck. All right, let's get back to the
I'm sorry though, Grutz, you took it away that round.
Yeah.
That was
That was
oh
painful
my
for
god.
me.
That was fucking amazing.
I just couldn't. I'm sorry.
All right, now we're back to the conversation at hand. When we last left our gangster episode, we were talking about best dressed. We talked about morality in gang movies. What I want to really throw to the panel on the second half is
Some of that bourbon?
If yeah, well, no, you can maybe there you go. If you were to pair one gangster gang against another gangster gang from another movie, what would be that pair up, and what would you want to see as a movie? Manda.
So, I gave this one some thought, and I kind of want to see, and I know that we're not supposed to be hitting Scorsese so hard.
Well, in this
I
conversation, we can totally do it.
I kind of want to see Gangs of New York style gangsters pair up with the ones from Snatch.
Oh, wait, which sect from Gangs in New York?
I would say the Butcher's Boys.
The Bowery
Against
Boys.
which gangs
the
from
Bowery Boys.
Snatch?
Yes.
The Pikeys.
The Pikeys.
No,
Pikeys.
the Pikeys. I was about to
Pikeys.
say, yeah, it has to be the Pikeys.
And so here's why. Because I feel like they're both kind of severely underestimated, and that they're viewed as like the kind of social outcasts. Like, they're not viewed as being particularly smart or particularly gifted in anything that they do, but they clearly have a whole lot of streetwise. And I would kind of want to see from those two different eras how they would pair against each other and which ones would actually survive.
I will say that I actually got to see one of my favorite, like, two gangs coming together in one of my favorite gangster movies of all time, which is
Colors.
Takashi Kitano's brother.
Ooh.
Fuck, I love. You introduced me to that movie.
I did.
You piece of shit.
That movie,
I love that
where
movie.
basically, like the Yakuza comes, some fallen from grace Yakuza come over to, the West Coast of the United States. They start setting up shop, and they end up ruffling feathers, and they're making and they end up against the Italian mafia, and holy shit, the fucking Yakuza mixed with the Italian mafia fighting, that shit was amazing. Like, the crescendo of that movie
Right.
is out fucking standing.
Agreed.
And that's what I would expect, is some huge crescendo where you have this whole other view of things, because you have this American, like, 1800s style, gang of people who are fighting for their own well-being, their own, like, style of living. And then you have the Pikeys, who again, periwinkle blue, like they just want to do their thing, and but it's a whole different thing. So seeing those two different, it's a culture clash as well as like a time period clash, and seeing how they would go together, but they're both severely underestimated.
I want the entire fucking Godfather crew to go against Zorg and his fucking alien crew of like stone stealing motherfuckers. See what happens, because you would assume with the futuristic weapons that it would be Zorg that would take the cake. But that's the thing with that Italian mafia is like they play themselves very civil and kind. They want you to underestimate them.
Right.
They're gonna fuck up Zorg's crew so fucking hard.
Because the thing is, Zorg fucks himself up all the time. Like, everything he does is just a shit show. Like, it doesn't go well.
And the thing is, his crew are mercenaries.
Right.
So the Godfather crew, they're way
Loyal.
smarter than Zorg
And
or
they're
anybody in
loyal.
his crew. And they're loyal as fuck. What's going to end up happening is that somebody's going to end up working in as like a fucking mop-up guy in his building and work his way up, shoot Zorg in the head, and then the minute that Zorg is done,
And the
his
pet's
people
gonna come
have
out.
his
pet will
his
come
pets
out.
will come out.
And they'll all be like, I can answer that. For
His
money.
crew has no actual honor. They're gonna move on to the next fucking mark. They're not
Right.
gonna avenge his death or anything like that. That's why Zorg's gang is
That's a
bullshit.
really good pairing. That's a
Yeah.
really good pairing. I
Yeah.
like it.
I think if I had my choice of ridiculous, two groups coming together, it would have to be the Foot Clan from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I was wondering about them earlier. I
And-
was wondering about them earlier.
and-
If they counted.
And the gangs from Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my
Because
god.
that shit I would want to see on cinema.
Yeah.
Way to be artsy with
Way
that
to
shit.
be like,
That shit would be
obscure
fun.
and
That shit would
weird.
be fun.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm gonna make this one weird. Well, not
Weirder
quite that
than
weird.
that?
Not quite that weird, but a little bit more weird.
Not as weird as wearing sunglasses and hanging half out of the fucking
Am
picture.
I really?
Yeah,
Oh,
there.
shit,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. You're
I was
fine.
just leaning over here. It's like rest my fat on my arm.
Yeah, you were about to rest to the point where you were laying on the floor, being like, "No, I'm still here."
Where
Like-
I was just on the floor with my microphone.
Yeah.
And he'd still be loud enough that you pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I want to see, and I don't know if this counts as a two-way or a four-way fight, but I want the warring peasant families from the original Yojimbo to fight with the warring families from Fistful of Dollars. Like death match, cage match, all four go at it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
That is weird. It's not. I don't know. I don't know which is weirder.
Is that a
That's-
two-way
like it.
or a four-way?
I feel like that's a.
And if you really want to make it really weird, you add in the warring Italian families from fucking Last Man Standing.
I'm pretty sure it's weird enough if you're asking yourself if it's a two-way,
Two-way
or a four-way.
repeatedly.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
I think probably firearms would always win in that equation, but, never underestimate the samurai, I suppose.
That is to be true.
To be true. Lowdown, you got to pair up?
I don't know. Grutz kind of took mine with the
Oh, okay.
turtles thing.
Okay, no
Now-
worries. Now, what about the foot taking on what they were referenced to, which was the hand from Daredevil?
That's too much neck and neck there, though.
Well, no, what I would
Because
figure
the
is...
foot came from Japan, and the hand centered in China, which a mythical place, Kung Lung. But
yeah, but
you know.
but the foot, how they're portrayed in the Ninja Turtle comics, are way more fuck-upable than the hand.
Fuck
So-
uppable.
So I
No,
would
the
say-
way the clan was portrayed in the comic, Foot Clan they were badass, and they were straight in the shadows.
they were badass, but I wouldn't
motherfuckers.
say as badass as the fucking hand.
And but what we got from the hand from the Defenders was that they would kind of did a lot of talking. So
Well,
yeah,
that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
By
so
the way,
what are you going
like,
with there? What are you going with there? I'm just saying. I didn't see a lot of fighting going on there. I saw a lot of talk.
Are we going with like comic foot or cartoon foot?
Comic Foot.
I'm going with
Cartoon-
Comic Foot Clan.
Cartoon Foot Clan is laughably bad at their job.
Yes,
As a
they
follow-up
suck.
to that, the cartoon foot versus the henchman from fucking Monarch.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Incompetence versus incompetence. Who's
God, we are-
stupid?
you know what?
Stretching
Fuck that.
gangsters.
I want
Comic-
to. No, I want to see that movie. Like I want to. Like fuck I don't even care about like the fucking main protagonist. Let's just get that happening.
Here we go. The comic Foot Clan, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. They are a fucking gang. They might have a lot of money and might be considered an agency, but they're a fucking gang against the goddamn Kingsmen.
And to be fair, I actually wondered about this earlier. I wondered about this earlier when we were having.
Kingsmen are a fucking gang. They are a rich gang.
Nope, they are
Organization.
Yeah,
they're a gang.
A mob. If
mob.
you will.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're a mob.
So they're mobsters. It works.
Yeah.
But no, I wondered about that earlier. We were talking about another subject, and I was going, okay, so does the Foot Clan count with Shredder? Is that a thing?
Shredder's the boss.
It is.
He's
I
the
mean,
kingpin.
it is. It's organized crime. That's exactly what it is. So it works.
And they look cool.
They do look cool with their fucking fly eyes. I like it.
Little bug eyes.
I'm not exactly sure if this actually works in the context of this conversation,
We'll
but
make it work.
Flat earthers versus common sense. Is that
Oh.
I want to see that battle.
Wait, we can get really bad. This is a dark path we can
All right,
take.
I feel like this. I feel like we're spiraling in a weird way.
No, I'm gonna give a little tidbit, and I don't give a
Just beware of what he wants to add.
It affected me this week, and I have a real problem with it, and I just need to share it.
Did you get flat Earth this week?
I got flat Earth.
Really?
Ooh.
I was at work, and one of my
watch a dinosaur
coworkers
fall off
at the place that I work that I have never once in my entire time that I've done this podcast mentioned where I work.
Did you get flat Earth with dinosaurs falling off the edge?
I had a coworker come by and tell me that his wife was in North Carolina and hadn't seen shit. This was at noon. So well before anyone would have seen shit. And he told me that it was all a distraction because of all the political stuff, and he didn't believe an actual eclipse was going to happen. I then countered that by going downstairs to the machine shop in my work and grabbing a helmet around 2:44 when the peak in
And
Richmond,
looking at
and
the
looking
eclipse.
up and then taking a picture and then sending it to his email.
You got flat Earth.
I got flat Earth.
Wow.
By the way, like, fuck any other conspiracy theory. If you think that politicians and everyone on the continent is teaming together to pretend that there's an eclipse, you're an insane person, and you might need to be put to death.
Flat Earthers
Probably.
and moon landing conspiracy theorists. They
Yeah.
can both eat a dick and die with Jerry Falwell.
Can we just put the flat Earthers against the moon landing?
Talk about
conspiracy
gang
theory?
fight.
And
No,
just- and
let's
just
do that
let
now.
Let them eliminate each other and let the problem solve itself.
They're
Oh
the
my
same
God.
people.
They are. Oh well. Sometimes.
I've got one more for you before I move on to the next
Okay.
topic.
All right.
All right.
We're losing
Try to
all of
caution.
our conspiracy theory.
Yeah, seriously. We need to get back on mob movies.
All right.
So, speaking specifically of mobs, I want to see the Anthill mob from fucking Wacky Races versus the goddamn Lollipop Guild.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Okay. Okay.
I can't even argue.
Okay.
I approve of that.
I can't even argue.
God.
All right.
And that's why you keep me on this podcast.
I want to see
Holy
the
shit.
Deuces Wild Gang go against the Outsiders. That's what I want. Yeah.
I
Stay
can
gold.
be down with that.
Stay gold. It's okay.
All right.
It's gonna be a lot of like hair combing. That's
All it is.
that's all it
Hair
is.
combing.
Just like who can comb their hair better.
Right.
So, Hobbit, this has gone a little off the rails.
Yeah, no, I mean it always does. All right.
Would
so,
you like to actually, at some point, talk about our favorite gangster movie?
Yeah, no.
Wait.
Let's actually get really in depth into our favorite gangster movies.
And we're all gonna disagree so hard.
No, that's
we're
fine.
But I love it. I love
we're
it.
super gonna disagree.
I love it.
Grutz, I know you have one in
I
the
love it.
in the fucking
All right.
shoot.
All right.
So go.
All right. So, we already mentioned our Eastern Promises. Awesome. I mentioned Brother earlier, but I'm gonna name the other three that I had on my top 5 that I brought in here. King of New York, Abel Ferrara,
Christopher Walken.
Miller's motherfucking Crossing,
No shit.
Yeah.
Coen
Miller's
Brothers,
Crossing.
and one that a lot of people missed, Long Good Friday, with Bob Hoskins as the main character
Oh, Bob Hoskins.
by Neil Jordan. That fucking movie is amazing.
It is so good.
And when it comes to fucking like sort of American urban stuff, I gotta go with Boys in the Hood, man.
You're like, I got a favorite, and then you name like 18 favorites.
4 movies right there.
Which is like
Boom.
18.
Let's put it out there.
But not.
All right, what else we got for favorites here?
All right, so I mean, I'm gonna hit a couple in different styles of gangster movie. First off, for your typical Italian mob movie, I've got to go with Goodfellas over Godfather. As far as like your British gangster movies, definitely gonna be Snatch. Definitely gonna be Snatch. And then there's another one I wanted to add in here. It's not quite either of those. And shit, it just was on the tip of my head and fell off there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, apparently a super important film for you.
Yeah, no, it was. Brain just farted on me. Suicide Kings.
Oh,
well done.
With
nice.
fucking Christopher Walken.
Yeah, no, that
and
That's so
Dennis
good.
Leary in his goddamn fish boots.
no, but
so good.
that's just Walken. That's what does
so
it. Is
good.
Walken.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just Walken.
Insinuated, but not quite shown. It's
Walken carries that fucking picture.
So
He really
well.
does. Like, the kids are fucking useless in that movie.
Yeah.
But fucking Christopher Walken, and then it's just, fuck is his name? The big doofy guy from Everybody Loves Raymond that was in it.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
Big, tall, and doofy. Fuck his
shit,
name.
I can't think of his name. No, I know who you're talking about though.
Well, it was the dumb shit kidnapper.
All right, Steven.
Now, as far as I got a question on Cron real quick. Now, you say Goodfellas over Godfather. Are you talking specifically Godfather, or are you talking about Godfather 2?
Like, I prefer.
I'm sorry, Godfather 2 trumps the fuck out of Goodfellas.
I prefer Goodfellas to like the Godfather series as a whole.
I can't.
I
to
can't
be
make
fair,
it through it. I fall asleep.
To be fair, I can't get him to watch the entire series all the way through.
I fall
have to
asleep.
watch it on my own.
I fall asleep. Like, I'm there. I'm physically there in front of the TV, but usually
Like,
about
I get
halfway
falling
through the
asleep in
first
front
one,
of
I'm out.
3. I get
No,
that.
the whole thing. He'll be done in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I fall asleep. I'm sorry.
Look, I don't want to. Godfather 2 is such a fucking cop out answer, but there's a reason why it's a cop out answer.
It won, like, what,
And
7 Oscars that year or something
yeah,
like that?
it
Like,
won an unnecessary amount of Oscars. It's also the go-to. We had movie sequels last week
Right.
that we talked about, and Godfather 2 came up because it's better than the original.
It's so good.
And not only that, but fucking Brando and
Pacino.
and
De Niro.
De Niro.
Yeah.
De Niro got nominated for the same character.
Yeah, right?
The same
No shit,
character.
the same character.
There's a reason why that is known as the be-all end-all of not only gangster movies, but as far as sequels, because it earned it. It earned it fucking hard.
Storytelling is just fucking...
That movie,
oh.
it's slow-paced as fuck, but goddamn if it doesn't pay off in that movie. That movie
Right?
is hands down... Honestly, no, I'll say it right here. It is my #1 favorite fucking gangster movie of all time. And I love a lot of gangster movies, but fuck, if that didn't give like size and balance and understanding and
It clears up a lot.
it gives it so much. Like
It
that's
escalates quickly.
that's
to the
my
point where you
favorite.
can't-
All right. Hold on. We're talking about apples and oranges here. Okay. All right. Goodfellas is a standalone movie that absolutely showcases the humanity of these people and the situation, what happens. Okay. The Godfather series is an epic. Okay. Godfather 2 and
There's
Godfather
nothing epic about the third one.
and Godfather 1 are both fantastic films, but Godfather 2 would not stand on its own as much if Godfather 1 hadn't set the scene.
You're correct.
So
Goodfellas sits alone on its own with
On
no
its own.
beginning or no end.
You're
It's
right.
just
That's
that,
fair.
though.
That's
And
fair.
that may be part of why I prefer it, is like, even with
Correct.
like things like Lord of the Rings, I fall asleep in Lord of the fucking Rings
To
too.
be fair, I mean, he likes anything that can start, wrap up, and you understand everything in one go.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love lots of movie series over the years, especially like, Dirty Harry and Die Hard are some of my favorite movie series. But they're fairly fast paced. You can follow along. There's not too much just unnecessary drawn out expository. Same thing with like I
Right.
said, as far as Tarantino goes, I'm just not super into Kill Bill. It takes too fucking long. That could be one movie.
Right. He likes things that can stand alone on their own. If you haven't seen the first one or the third one or whatever,
And
it's still something that makes sense.
The other one I was trying to think of, and I don't know why it fell off my head, was it falls in with the same kind of theme with you got Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars and Last Man Standing, which are all roughly they are the same fucking story, but it's a dude that walks in and pits two gangs against each other. So you could kind of lump all three of those into one. But the other one that I was thinking of, just because it was weird and fucked up, was fucking Lucky Number 11.
Yeah,
Morgan Freeman
that's a
and
good
Bruce
one.
Willis was just fantastic.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've got a favorite that it is a gangster flick, but they do a really good job of portraying it as something else. But the baseline it does revolve around the mob. Is fucking Looper.
Yeah.
That's a great fucking movie.
Not wrong.
You're
right?
not wrong.
Like, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
it revolves around the mob.
It does.
You know.
That's
Like,
true.
And,
yeah.
and that when I saw that became literally one of my top favorite
And
movies. I
that
love that
direct-
fucking movie.
That director moved on to do. He's doing what, episode 8, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Started off at Brick, and then he went to Looper.
Which, by the way, if you have not seen Brick,
Brick is
You
amazing.
need to do yourself a favor.
Brick is
it's
fucking
fucking
amazing.
check that shit
not
out.
a mob movie, but
It's so good.
fuck,
But it's still Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like
I
this little
love
high school
Joseph
detective. Oh,
Gordon-Levitt.
it's so good.
That was one of my favorite
Not only
movies.
because he's pretty, but because.
That was one of my favorite movies the year it came out.
And
Absolutely.
The other
So
one
good.
was kind of that I was thinking of was Luke Besson does a lot of fantastic movies with its very particular style that he has, and so you've got a lot in that lump. You've got, of course, the Transporters, which is always the one contractor fucking up some gang of assholes, and you've got Wasabi with Jean Reno, who's just amazing.
Yeah.
But another one that really jumped out at me, and they made two of them, was District 13. The fucking parkour gangster movie with like weird French gangsters. We all think of French people as like these assholes with flags running away from shit. But there's this dude jumping off of buildings, fucking people up.
that was actually remade in the United States as Brick Mansions, and it was
terrible.
It was the last
Paul Walker.
film. It was the last film that Paul Walker filmed before he died.
I
Paul
didn't
Walker doing
realize it was a
parkour.
remake. I never watched it, but I saw the trailer. I was like, it's a fucking remake of District 13, isn't it?
Yeah, District 13 was the first movie, and they did a second one before it actually
District
got.
13 Ultimatum. I have
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go a weird route because I realized earlier that you and I disagreed on this. But when I talk about movies that I can watch over and over and over again, I'm going to go Road to Perdition. Because
Yeah.
that movie,
Yeah.
Okay.
that movie, like, it's one of those movies where you realize that the whole entire reason that it gets so fucked up is because there's this kid who unintentionally gets dragged into this whole lifestyle. Stop.
No, wait. I'm waiting.
He gets dragged into this lifestyle, and you're not really sure who your protagonist is supposed to be because you kind of want it to be the kid, but then Tom Hanks is doing such a good job to try and protect this kid who he clearly doesn't have a connection with at first. But by the end of it, he is so drawn into making this whole idea of protecting somebody other than himself important that you just really want it to go well for them, and it doesn't. And I love that movie. I love
want to.
it.
I want to give a little more insight on why I don't like Road to Perdition.
Fine. I'll hear you.
My mom is a giant Tom Hanks fan,
As am I.
and I had not seen the movie, and she told me that it was phenomenal and she loved it to death, and I said, okay, well, I might see it at some point, and then she gave that to me as a present for Christmas.
Merry
She
Christmas.
forced it on you.
It was
forced it on
forced
you.
upon me, and if
Tom
anyone
Hanks was forced
anyone in
into
this
your
group
face.
knows how I respond to that, I immediately basically fucking ninja fire against that.
That's fine.
So
That's not a real reason, though.
No, I watched the movie with disdain,
And thank you for having my back on this
and
one.
my response was it wasn't a bad movie, but I didn't really get the gist aside from the end note at the end. I really appreciated that.
It was such a harsh change for his character. That
Yeah.
it was one of those things that I
But
feel
also,
like any person, you wanted to hate him.
I was not into it at
But
the
you
time.
couldn't. You couldn't because he was trying so hard to make it do.
And let's give it up for our listeners. If you need to tell me why I need to better appreciate Road
Please,
to
God,
Perdition,
Like,
talk
it's
about
long
it.
and it's slow, and even I like it.
Talk
It's
about it in
so
the
good.
comments on our social media or on even
literally,
iTunes.
in my top 10 movies that I
All
can
right.
watch over and over again, that's one of them.
I'm backing her up hardcore on this. Not only as far as if you think the boy or Tom Hanks is really the protagonist. What I took from the movie as far as what they did really well on that was as far as the antagonist. Okay, not only do you have Daniel Craig, who is this whiny little sadistic fucking vindictive brat, and who nails that. You have his father, who was that?
So there was Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. Paul Newman played
Paul
his father.
Newman.
Then you had the hidden bad guy, Jude Law, who was the skeeviest, dirtiest motherfucker.
Well, Paul Newman
Whenever you
wasn't
saw
even his
him.
father. It was just somebody who worked for
I thought it
him.
was his father. No, I thought Daniel Craig was his son in the movie. Yeah.
No.
Like blood son.
Daniel Craig was Paul Newman's son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Daniel Craig
okay.
was Paul
Yeah,
Newman's
yeah,
blood
yeah.
son.
I was thinking
and
Tom
Daniel
Hanks'
Craig
son.
was butthurt because he
Yes.
favored Tom Hanks' character
But
over
Jude
him.
Law was fucking creepy in
Right?
that movie.
With the long nails and the
He was the weird
dead
fucking
bodies.
comb over.
Yeah,
like,
anyway.
ugh.
Yeah.
Also,
so,
it's fucking Forrest Gump versus James Bond.
Shut up.
and Forrest Gump won. Jude Law actually killed Forrest Gump. So.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my view. I don't hate the movie. Okay, I don't.
I like that you're promising it with that.
Yeah,
I don't.
But
That movie was, in my opinion, incredibly heavy-handed with its drama, and
I like that though. That's probably why I like it so much.
but it was unnecessarily so, and the pacing was all wrong, and I felt the whole time I was watching it that this movie really wanted to be Miller's Crossing, and it was not living up to
Thank you.
it.
And let's talk about fucking Miller's Crossing for a second, because it was mentioned earlier, but it needs a way bigger fucking mention than just a half
Passing,
mention.
Yeah.
It's the unknown Coen Brothers movie. It is so
outstanding.
dark and slow paced and gives every single character a chance to have that moment in the movie, which is rare. That's something actually very prevalent in Coen Brothers films in general, is that they give a chance for every single character to have that one moment.
Well, they're writers first, is really what it is, and they write for the screen. And the movie felt like it came out of the late 1940s.
It
was
did.
outstanding, and everybody in the movie, especially Gabriel Byrne, had probably his best performance of his career.
I will agree with that.
Which it was very understated, and he was a great asshole, and he had great lines. But I liked him better in that than I did in Usual Suspects.
I guess we're kind of starting to get a little close. I want to make sure that none of the other panelists have anything else to say about Miller's Crossing before I kind of moved on. Anybody else have anything to say? Besides this amazing fucking movie.
Only that if you haven't seen it,
you need to fucking watch it.
Then go see that.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
GUI is ordering you to go watch that movie.
That movie's amazing. That's a GUI fact.
GUI fact.
GUI fact.
These are facts, folks.
On the outro, let's talk about some of the more fun ones. Okay, I've got a couple. You've got Johnny Dangerously. It's a really funny fucking mob movie.
Okay, all right.
What's the one with Christian Slater as Lucky Luciano? That was a fun movie.
Oh, fuck.
You know what I'm talking about? Where he basically shows the history of Lucky Luciano, and he started the family. He started the family.
Yeah, it had all the young guys that were hot at the time.
Yeah,
Right.
in it.
and then
The Newtown Boys?
No, the Newton Boys. You're thinking of a
That's-
Matthew McConaughey. That's the train robber gang. That's the
No,
brothers.
there's-
That was a good movie too, though. That was Vincent D'Onofrio, Skeet Ulrich,
Vincent
and
fucking
Matthew
D'Onofrio.
McConaughey.
I got one.
And then
My Blue Fucking Heaven.
yes, my
Blue
Heaven.
Heaven.
Holy shit.
Talk about a fun fucking anything Steve
Holy
Martin.
shit.
Anything Steve Martin.
All right.
And you got me fucking sold
So, I got
like a
one.
warm blanket.
8 heads in a duffel bag.
Yes.
Love that fucking movie.
8 heads in a duffel bag.
Yes. That movie's so fun.
Pretty much anything with Joe Pesci, I'm in.
My
Yeah.
Cousin Vinny. But that's not really a mob movie.
It's not really
It
a
might
mob
as well
movie,
be.
but
Married to the Mob.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm.
The whole 9 yards.
Yes. The whole 10 yards.
The whole 10
The whole
yards.
10 yards.
You know what was actually really good and I enjoyed it? Killing Him Softly with fucking Brad Pitt.
That was really
Okay.
good.
That was a fun
Okay.
That was
watch.
really good.
It
I
wasn't
did watch that.
intentionally funny, but it was just really fun to watch people just getting shot. And he kept talking to that dude in the fucking car about how much everyone was a fucking moron.
That's true. Now that the
That's
Johnny
true.
Depp Dillinger movie was really disappointing.
Oh, what was that?
It was definitely not Blow,
What
which
was-
was amazing.
What was the
What
name
was-
of that?
Oh, speaking of Blow, we have not
You
mentioned
even
Blow.
touched Blow.
Pee-wee fucking
Pee-wee
Herman.
fucking Herman.
Yeah.
In Blow.
Honestly,
And he
that
was beautiful in
that
Blow.
was
Paul
that was
Rubin.
my favorite part of that
was
movie.
Beautiful in
Pee-wee
Blow.
Herman.
Is Paul Rubens.
He was so good. He was so
The
good.
fact that he didn't, I don't think he got nominated for that role. He should have.
He should have.
He should have.
Oh.
been.
That was a beautiful
You're talking
role.
about
He was
Johnny
fucking
Depp in
fantastic.
Public Enemy. What about Johnny Depp as Black Mask?
Yeah.
Black Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black
Yeah.
Mask. That's
Black
what I mean.
Mass.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I watched that. I've only seen that twice.
That was an Oscar grab. That movie
it was still a good fucking movie.
It was okay.
I enjoyed it.
It was okay.
I want to say it's worth mentioning that one of the other very popular Japanese directors right now, Takashi Miike, is just celebrating his 100th feature film coming out.
It's insane.
That motherfucker is prolific.
That's insane.
And I swear to God, at least a third of his movies are Yakuza movies.
By the way, speaking of Yakuza, one of the greatest Yakuza moments of Takashi Miike's entire career is in Ichi the Killer.
Oh, yes.
He cuts his own tongue off.
Yes.
Which
Kurt Sutter stole. Kurt Sutter stole that in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, he totally stole that. He totally cut
that.
That
from
entire TV show.
Yeah.
You shut your mouth about
All right,
that show.
we've got a lot more to talk about on gangster movies, but unfortunately, we're out of time here on Geeks Under the Influence. Thank you guys so much for listening to us, and definitely stay tuned for next week. We're going to be talking about all things Scorsese movies. So we're going to be talking about his gangster movies. That's why we didn't talk about them a whole lot on this one. We're saving them for next week, as well as The Aviator.
Dude had jars of his own piss.
Hey, I love The Aviator.
No,
so
I
don't
thought it
even
was
judge.
I thought it was a good flick.
So good.
The Aviator, the
It
one,
was so good.
the one appearance of Gwen Stefani from No Doubt actually having an acting role,
And she should stop after that.
She had one line, and it was like
That was enough.
4 words,
Yeah, that's good.
and she ruined it.
And
She
that
did.
movie he's getting ready to make with Netflix. Can't wait.
Yeah, now we're excited about the Scorsese
The fucking
episode. So
Irishman.
we're building up to that, but thank you guys so much for listening to this one. Thank you so much for the Creepazoids for the outro of Dead by Dawn, and for the use of Little Girl from the Gojira experiment on the intro. As always, I am Mike the Hobbit Bickett. Follow us on GUIPodcast.com, and as always, join us or die.
Shut the fuck up, Hobbit.
Join us or die, or I will swallow your soul. Necronomicon gives us power to rise from the dead. You play to take, or play against the spread. You can fight all you want, cause you felt to resist. We're here to take the world and rule with all your fists. So join us or die, join us or die, or I will swallow your soul.
GUIPodcast.com